Hi guys, it's me, just living again, and for this video that I will be dedicating to the Avatar, The Last Airbender vlogs, I shall be talking about the second episode of Season 2 of this great show, called The Cave of Two Lovers. I guess the second love would be too much for them to put in there. Well, this is a good episode. I enjoyed it quite a bit because it shows that the story and the character development can happen without actually involving any action or violence in there, which is also good. Which is just fine and dandy. Now, this also has a type of returning to a location that was featured in Season 1, but it's completely destroyed. It's taken over by the Fire Nation. Something similar happened to to Mainframe in the first and the third season of Reboot, by which the heroes lived in the city and Megabyte was in there and he fought with Bob, and then in Bob's absence it became completely overrun by his forces, by Megabyte's forces. So this is something similar to that. And we continue our quest for the Avatar ship, if you will, by by having and practicing more and more with his with water bending stylings with Guitar, the master trainer of the group for water bending. And I like this part in the episode because it's, although brief, it shows off something very important to this show. And that being that kids in this show are like supposed to be teenagers or preteen kids. So it's very delicate from what series in the next few minutes. And they are training, I think, based on some kind of school from the Water Nation tribe, Water tribe, in which they have to learn the octopus technique, by where Aang becomes like an octopus and uses tentacles of water to attack with. So anyway, he uses the attack pretty well. He becomes like a natural prodigy, like always with Katara. And he mentioned that he's very good at being a good octopus, which is quite rare for this show to have single animal references. They usually have later on a wolf bat, which is quite scary actually. They have bison, they have bat, lemur hybrids, penguin, turtle ducks, something with penguins, I forgot exactly what it was, but it's pretty rare for how they're not push. Usually it's something to come on with something else. So there's that. And then later on we'll see Bosco in the Earth Kingdom as a single bear. But what we want to talk about here was that because Aang and Guitar are in the water, training and cooling off, they have they involve the mandatory bathing shot of both our heroes. Now, normally this wouldn't be a big deal if it was just Aang and Zuko and and or soccer. Because the men, they just pick off the tops, and that's it. But when it comes to the women of this show, winning shows, there's always that issue about showing off too much skin, especially for preteen girls. Now, this is usually an issue when you get to older kids that they want to show off the body and whatnot. So people usually animate them with like a bikini or a bra or something or other. But they actually do a good job with showing it like a bathing suit type thing for these people, for these kids. But then they also show that they're covering most of their more intimate areas. So bravo for that. They did a good job with that. And they do it with bandages for the most part. You know, like a hybrid of a bikini and a skin suit, which I would assume that's like part and parcel for where Katara and Sokka grew up in the extreme north and south poles of the Avatar universe. And I'm not sure if they would actually have that type of swimwear for women any time in history, but that was a good call. Because again, it's extremely cold, so I doubt it very much if, except during the extreme summer months, they would have any bathing attire is necessary for going out in the cold water. So they had to make kind of a judgment call on certain things, where, as you will see in later episodes, when the Fire Nation people go in the water or in the beach area, they tend to be a lot more traditionally outfitted for beach weather and beach attire. Probably because the people that I feature in it tend to be older and wiser about that kind of thing. It's just something I noticed. So anyway, we have that, and then we meet the other female partners show this episode. I mean, and that'd be the singing travelers, or as some people may call them, hippies. Yeah, the Avatar world has bison, airbenders, all kinds of elementals, the martial arts combination, and we also have their own version of hippies. And they sing the song Spirit Tunnel, which is not really annoying to me per se, but as the show gets on, it can get rather grating and very annoying if you listen all the time, like Sokka did, or I had to endure. So there's that. But they're peaceful folk. They're more like about love and about respecting each other and that kind of thing, rather than brute forcing everything. Plus, it shows a good alliance too with other non-benders and non-combatants. But that makes it very nice. You know, I always just like to make friends across the world and everything. Not for any romantic purposes, just to have friends. And I know this guy who took one of my surveys at the gym once, and you could tell that he's a hippie by the way he speaks and stuff, like uses like yeah man, like, and all this stuff and the way he just speaks. But then when he was writing the survey, it's real funny because he Right, also in the same way, like, he raised, like, we're, like-minded, or something like that, like, very much in the speech of a hippie. So that's actually pretty funny. You know, you would think that'd be like a waste of time for him to say like, yeah, man, and all this other junk, and like you know, the spirituality and all that crap. You know, I would think that's enough to be able to say that in person, but then to write down and be too many of a waste of space and time. I swear, when I wrote that, when I had a simple answer like a few words pieces for an answer, that give me a whole paragraph full of it. So there was something. But I actually like those people. Those people are okay in my book, or in this case, book 2. Anyway, they came up with Team Avatar, Sakura, and Little Angie. And that's pretty fun because while they were like on the beach and singing the songs, they show the women of the group actually braiding up his hair. That's like a hippie type stereotypical hippie activity, but it's still pretty fun. See a big tough guy like Appa, you know, getting its hair braided by women. I wish I had some women that would be my beautiful locks. Just near the end of there. So anyway, we'll also get a little thing about it cuts in between the main action on Team Avatar and the hippies and Uncle Iroh and Prince Zuzu. And I like these because they're very comical together. Two of them. They're kind of like in this season they kind of like Bunny and Clyde running around and trying to avoid all the badnesses of the Earth's Kingdom and the Fire Nation. So it's actually pretty comical to see them ducking and dodging. And because of their outlaw nature, they end up having to stay off the grid, as it were, because there was no electricity back then, so they had to be on land in like total darkness, pretty much. And the supplies ran out real quick. So you see them trying to scrounge around and looking for stuff to eat. And they don't have any meat or fish. So Zuko had to go find, you know, berries and hunt and stuff. While I was looking at a plant to make for tea. But it just so happened that he ended up getting eating something that would probably poison him, probably kill him eventually if medical treatment is not available. This actually reminds me of the Family Guy and Simpsons gags. They do the same thing where the main person eats something that they probably shouldn't eat, and then they end up becoming hopefully disfigured from it. And it also reminds me of the survivalist videos that you always see on the internet, where they have the main person saying that you shouldn't eat this food on this mushroom or something because it looks so similar to this mushroom that would kill you in an instant. And they end up playing with that a little bit, and when Uncle Iroh is poisoned by something, by the leaf or whatever, the flower, he ends up finding pink berries that look like snail eggs. He said, "This could either cure me before I die of a swollen throat, or it might kill me outright fast No, it might cause me blindness. So Zuko says, screw this shit. I'm throwing out the way. No more scrounging food. We're gonna go and we're gonna get some more food. More food proper. So then they make the argument that said that we're on the run from the Earth Kingdom and from the Fire Nation. So that's very funny because if they go to the Earth Kingdom authorities, they get caught by the Earth Kingdom authorities, they'll be killed on the spot for being war criminals and etc. 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 But if we're captured by the Fire Nation, we have to deal with Zuko's sweet baby sister Azula, which I'm sure will have nothing bad for her sweet brother, except maybe beheading and maybe making his limbs into charcoal boil. But that's beside the point. So they obviously choose death because what Azula has in her twinkling mind is probably worse off than just getting beheaded or imprisoned for life. So they decide to go around looking around for food and, trying to pay their way through, paying their way through their way for food. And it's really funny that Zuko is like, Vegeta, like, I deserve better than this. I'm the Prince of all Saiyans, I'm the Prince of the Fire Nation. I deserve better than this. I deserve better than just running around fishing or hunting for my food. I deserve completed whatever on my dishes and all that stuff. So anyway, I'll come back to them later on. But then they do what where they do they come back to Aang and the other people trying to survive and stuff. And they see that the cable over two lovers that they could either go to get to a marshal real quick, or they can take a shorter route by flying up in the air and getting or that. So then they say no. Aang says no. But is more comfortable going up in the air because he's of course a flying air bison. So everyone moves up on Appa, and they do like a quick cutscene type thing, like in Family Guy. But this one is much more special and much more effective because number one, it's funny, and number two, they really do it because you know that if you over rely on something like that, it gets to be a little annoying and kind of drag down the entire show with it. So they use it very sparingly. Thank goodness. Anyway, it works out fine. The comedy aspect, at least. And they go for a more comfortable route. And then the people are pelted by Fire Nation fireballs. Almost as if the Fire Nation were prepared for the Avatar and his band of merry men and women to go through the air paths. So anyway, it really stresses Appa out, as well as the Team Avatar members. So they end up having to take the underground route, which I really like the fact that they can actually provide something that makes the big animal scared. It's so rare that they actually show something that a big bruise like Appa can actually be afraid of. And I mentioned Manezi, which makes sense in the long run because, again, he's a big animal that's alive. Of course, you're gonna see him more comfortable soaring like an eagle in the air, but they have to move their butts because the fire agent behind them and close up the entrance to the cave before they get a chance to before they get the back out of it. So they seal the cave up, and Saga even asked the hippies that talk about this cave, is it true or is it legend that they can they can make their way through the cave at the other end without Marshu? And then they say, yeah, it's a true myth. It's a true myth. Yeah, that's very encouraging, Buster Brown. So anyway, they show the chief of the they show this, and then they show that Appa is ruined, that he can't fly or bring him his way out of the cave that the fire agent caved in on them. So they're singing the songs and stuff, and Taka tried to make a map for the places that they've been to before, because this place is like a giant maze, like a labyrinth, like you would see like in forgot the old Greek myth of the Minotaur. I think it went Minos. Anyway, but like that. You don't know exactly what's inside the mountain that can possibly kill our adventurers. So anyway, they do this. They have to split up to find the way out. In the process, they actually find these creatures there called wolf bats, which is just as scary as it sounds. And it's they're basically a bat with the face of a wolf. Real ugly too. So they have to they took Appa in one case. So anyway, Appa chases out these things. Aang and Katara follow Appa, and the hippies with Taka to try to find a way out. So, what's actually really weird is that they end up right back where they started. The Taka and the hippies. Well, they're singing the song and getting annoyed, and annoying the piss out of Sokka. His face during the whole thing is precious. It's like, I don't want to be dealing with you guys anymore. One more song and I'm gonna pop. Which can mean a lot of times. But anyway, they show we come to the conclusion that the tunnels are shifting around. The tunnels are like moving around, which I think would scare the crap out of me too, because you got your circular route there, and the maps are absolutely pointless. But that's the way they put Saga's idea of ingenuity and logic, and then you got the hippies' idea of just finding a way to by love. And you can see the point in both of them. Because, sometimes you need a map to get through everything in life. But you also need to drop all logic and just go blindly. And then work out in the end. It'll work out in the end. So anyway, they actually have a thing where they believe that Aang and Katara and Appa actually find the exit, but it turned out to be Tomb of the Lovers. And it's quite funny that both of them actually find the tomb little creepy, but it's still pretty good because it shows the whole backstory behind these two people that are in Chinese art style, and it's like pretty nice because they show that these the two people, Uma and Chu, are actually from different villages that were like fighting against each other for some reason, so they couldn't be together for that reason that they were fighting. And yeah, it was actually pretty nice that they actually showed that these two lovers would actually meet together in this cave system, and that they were they actually learned earth bending from Vegimals to so that they could unite together at night. So it was like kind of romantic, kind of weird in a way, because Vegemall told them how to become the first earthbenders in the world. It almost reminded me of some kind of a creative story for like ancient China or ancient Japan or something. Except these two were lovers. And they actually showed the Vegemals in here as being the first earthbenders on Earth, as it were. And I'm glad that they went with these hybrid creatures for this character design, because in real life, most are real ugly. They're like one of the ugliest animals on our Earth. And yes, I will stand by that, even though I know what a puzzle like. So anyway, they showed that Aang and Katara were pretty much lost with Appa, and they showed that Katara wanted to kiss Aang for a drone, so kind of a magical way to get out, because this is the key of two lovers. Now, it's funny that they do this, because in the main story, earlier in the episode, there was like during the training montage there, actually show Katara actually getting close to Aang, showing the right position to do the octopus position for the water bending technique. So this is like kind of like, it reminds me of when two people are golfing or when they're holding baseball clubs or something, and they're close together and stuff, and the person holding the club is like watching or something like that. So Katara wanted to kiss, and then they do this also thoughts the whole won't they get into romantic entanglement together. So anyway, in the end of the series, they do end up confessing their love for each other. So anyway, they say that Katara kind of bashful about when kiss Aang and vice versa, and that I don't want to kiss you and this and that and the other thing, kind of insults Katara, but they get over it real quick. So anyway, they show that they end up shooting up the torches, and above them it showed like a crystal geo type formation that ended up leading into the exit of the place. And it's really nice to see that they forget all the technology, let them use a spiritual way of finding a way out. So like the hippie said. And speaking of which, they end up having the hippie group attacker get almost attacked by the badger moles that dig on the ground, because they figured that the wolf bats are running away from something big, and it turns out to be the badger moles. and they almost kill the humans in the tunnel, and then they end up they find out that when Tiger accidentally hits the hippie's guitar, they end up finding out that Vegemite like music, and that music can suit the savage beat. So then they end up riding the Vegemite out of the cave. And kind of a hard way of doing it. Like they date their way out. So it's kind of like cheating through a hedge, basically going through the walls and stuff. And it's funny because at the end of the show, they actually showed that Sokka ends up having a big red mark on his forehead, and then the daughter asks, "Why you got that on your head, big brother?" So then the hippie opened the mouth for some reason, and Sokka like, and we find out that that's how the head slot got to be so prevalent, because the hippie guy says, I think that guy might be the Avatar, because they were on his forehead. So anyway, it also showed that Oma and Hugh, the two lovers, end up being very sad because they would meet under the mountain to confess their love for each other. But one day the guy, I think his name was Hugh, didn't make it in time because he was killed in the war. So the girl was very sad and stricken by all this, and used her considerable earth-bending power to make the little party stop it. So to commemorate this, in her memory and his memory, they end up making the city of Abashu. That's where that comes from. It was a combination of both their names. So by the end of the episode, when the hippie guys and Appa and Yankee meet up again with Saga, they end up going over to see about Omashu. But then it's all taken over by the Fire Nation, and then the flag is all unfold and stuff. So we know that it's fully taken over by the Fire Nation. Speaking of which, Uncle Iroh and Zuko are over there being taken care of by Lily and Sun, talking about how much the poisoning almost killed Uncle Iroh. Boy, this show would have been very interesting if Uncle Iroh, instead of dying off in some kind of horrible battle, if he died just because he was too ignorant of plans that he died of poisoning. That would have been really a stupid ending to a great character. So anyway, these two are being taken care of by the two women, and it's funny cause they asked Iroh and they asked them what their names are. So Zuko says, "My name is Lee," and he's Mushi or Mushu. So Iroh doesn't like that same, so he called Zuko Junior. Now, I am a junior. My father's name is Joe, but he never called me Junior. I'm sure that he knows that would really bug me, because it's like it's almost like, shut up, the big people are talking when he called me Junior. We know of somebody who his father died years ago, but he would call Paul Jr. And a father always used to call him June to just make him shut up. So that gave him like a Napoleon complex, And sure enough, um, whenever Iroh referred to Izuku as Junior, he would say, stop it, I don't call me that anymore. Even though I don't think that there's a name, there's a connection between Zuko and Ozai. For example, his father's real name. So anyway, they show it up, and then they we need food and all this stuff. So that night, the women make Zuko and Iroh a nice meal of roast duck. Now, personally, I don't like duck, but if I haven't eaten for days, I would gladly eat the duck any day, roasted or not. So anyway, they show that Zuko actually is under I think it's implied that he's starting to catch feelings for Song, that being the daughter. You wouldn't be able to tell by the credits because they go by so quick. I don't think they mention the woman's name and the kid's name too. But Song and Lily. Anyway, Uncle Iroh enjoys her food. Lily's food because he had lots of practice eating lots of food. But in any case, besides that, it shows that Zuko is having some feelings toward Miss Song, because she sent Win to the house, and she's like, well, the Fire Nation harms you. It harms you very badly. And she goes up to touch his scar, which is like a very big no-no for him. So he grabs her hand very gently and pushes it aside. He said, and then I was hurt too by the Fire Nation, and she picks up her leg and she shows up her leg to him, and it was all burned and stuff by possibly one of the soldiers and everything. So he's like, wow, the Fire Nation is horrible to you too. Now, she uses it kind of like a bonding moment, you were injured by the Fire Nation. I was injured by the Fire Nation. Let's be friends, and let's stop after that. At the very least, let's be friends. But I think that Zuko was also feeling this way too, and I think that when it comes to Zuko, I think he probably realized for the first time in a long time, ever, that the Fire Nation is unjustified in whatever they're doing. Which is very interesting because most of the time when you're a young kid, you're in a country that's in a war, and your side is quote unquote winning, everything always seems justified. It's like, my country can do no wrong. My culture is superior to yours. My religion is more superior than yours. Everybody else is about to compare to mine. My way of life is better than your way of life. But then he realizes that by having this innocent girl being having us called same order as his own, disrespected and all that, and that they were once refugees as well from the Fire Nation. It shows that the Fire Nation are a bunch of it's kind of morally gray as far as alliances go, who is and who's not. And, for the first time, Luca realized that his nation, his Fire Nation, it's not always justified universally, according to him. So it's actually pretty nice to see that. We've seen that many times in Japanese history where they were always superior and they always thought they were superior in war conflict and battles and such like that until they realized the opposite side, the enemy side. Case in point, if you talk to a Japanese person about what happened in China years ago, the rape of Nanking, for example, will say that China was a province of it was an extension of the Japanese Empire. They deserved it. They were animals. They were this and they were that. And then with the other thing. But if you talk to a Chinese person about it, they would say that those bloodthirsty animals, they took all our property, they raped our women, they killed our people, they killed our soldiers with a word of aggression, etc., etc. Also, I think that it was implied that the two women who lead a song were actually at one point or another Fire Nation people. So to have them being attacked and then become refugees from their own country, very similar to Iroh and Zuko. We never actually see that. We never actually see the reasons why they become like that. So anyway, Zuko and Iroh end up leaving behind, and that's really stupid because I always felt that Zuko and Song, if she got together, I think there was more chemistry between them two over Zuko and Mai any day, because Mai was like a very depressive person. Also, she would give me depression just to get by her. So I think that being like a kind of nurse and kind of similar story to Zuko and all that, I think he should have went with Song, and I will hold it to my dying breath. Because personally, I would like to get with someone like Song. Forget about the whole ethnicity thing and stuff. I would like to get with someone that got similar problems as me, similar identity as me, and someone similar to that has similar stories as me. It also would help if she would be like a kind of nurse to me, like oh they hurt you and all this stuff, very similar to me and all that. Yeah, I would like to find someone that's compassionate like Song is, and at least provides for a good cook. Although it would be kind of weird to see that Iroh and Lily would get together as well. So Song and Zuko would kind of be proper. Iroh and Lily would be proper by themselves, but before them together would be kind of awkward. Like mother and daughter, son and uncle would be kind of weird. Or nephew and uncle would be kind of weird. And you know what I mean by that. So anyway, they show this, and then on the way out, Zuko tried to take Lily and Son's chocobo horse. And I wrote Yellow and said, Zuko, these two women have given us great kindness. What the hell are you doing doing a horse or whatever you call it? Well, and at the Zuko Mountains thing, it says that they're going to give us more stuff eventually. So, on the way in, I can see where I would come from. They give us great kindness, they give us great food, they give us medical care, they give us a bath, presumably by ourselves. But what the hell are you gonna take from them now? Well, on the same note, Zuko thinking more practically than Iroh is, in that they're gonna need a faster form of transportation other than walking around and stuff. So I'm sure that if they ask the people for a horse, whatever the thing is, I'm sure they probably would give it to them, or they probably would have sold it to them, or borrowed something for it. But they get kind of a dick move on Zuko's part to show that he's becoming a better person, but the transition not go away. And show that he's not really 100% a good guy yet. And I hope that eventually he does pay them in some way for the chocobo horse, like whatever you call it. But I love the fact that they show Zuko and Iroh in those triangular, those Congo hats that Chinese people are known for wearing in the past. I want to know what the name of that is, because I want one for myself. But I love the way they impart Chinese culture on them, which is what the Earth is predominantly inspired by Chinese culture, whereas Iroh and Zuko are Japanese primarily, and the Cave of Two Lovers, which is fundamentally Chinese, the whole thing about Chinese culture and the people in the war and the art style, all Japanese, all Chinese, it's all Chinese, but yet in the beginning of the cave, they have like statues engraving in the mountainside that look Japanese. So it was like a Japanese incursion on Chinese culture, the opposite of Iroh and Zuko. Yeah, I like that this episode, in that both have kind of a sucky ending to them, both stories, with when they get out of the spirit tunnel, and the heroes find out that Masu has been taken over by the Earth Kingdom, by the Fire Nation, and I like the way Zuko and Iroh end up stealing a horse from two people. So it's like if Iroh was so against it, he wouldn't mind it behind Zuko. But because he was thinking about it more practical terms, he took the right to. That was like the brief part of this whole thing. And I think you for watching my Avatar video on the vlogs for episode 2 of book 2 of this great show, Avatar Lost and Better. It was really funny, it was really good, and it was very nice. The Cave of Two Lovers Now, the only way I would improve on this episode would be if Omar or Shu were either one of them were of a financial group, because that would solidify it better as being, unity, and there'd be a good kind of justification for this war. But I guess they just want to keep it in the Earth Nation type thing. And it's like the way they have and company being forced underground in the domain of the Earth, the opposite of Aang's element that he can't control yet. He hasn't even started yet. But he'll master by the end of the show. And Appa can't do anything about it just by his side. He would barely put a rim over the tomb. Which, by the way, I'm sure that the Discovery some kind of security thing about that, destroying my tomb, unleash a curse or something. Unless you put the entrance back the way it was. But I like the aspect of the geodes, the crystals that lit up at night. Crystals like that one comes early on in the show too. I think in the end of the season number 2, I believe. That's something really special. I can't wait to see. But no. Yeah, I enjoyed this episode quite a bit. And as you can imagine, I will give this episode my happy face because it's awesome. Animation's good. I like the fact that it starts off the idea of Aang and Katara getting together as a couple. Among the other people too. So it's very nice to see young kids get romantically involved, in a slow way. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more of my stuff, I will you can like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. You can also contact me for future information on my future videos by calling me or texting me at 631-707-3707. Now also, I will not be talking about my Twitter account because my Twitter account is I don't use it that much anymore. So what I will do instead is I will give you my Instagram account, and I will put all my contact information and socials and in the description of my videos from now on. Unless something else supersedes that. So my Instagram is JJ at JJ Maelstrom. And my email, of course, is jjviewingchannel@gmail.com. I salute all the people that enjoyed this show and all the other shows like it. It was like really spreading this show with me by Nicole, and I'm proud that I got involved in it. Involved in the theme of this show. I like the spiritual. I would actually like for them to produce a CD based on this episode where they have the heavy people singing the songs spiritual, among others too. And by the way, before I forget, I always love when the Appa and other positions and jokes other than his derby smile and derby look, and This one is like he's tired and he's grateful to be out of the cave. Because I'm sure it must have like PTSD or something. But like, I'm happy to be out of here. So anyway, that was really fun. And I enjoyed this episode quite a bit. So, peace out, my brothers and sisters. I'll see you all in the next episode of this great show. I'll see you in the next video. All you girls and guys in Finland. Sayonara, Tata, and I'll